2004, D.Gray-Man originally debuted as a manga in the weekly Shonen Jump magazine and eventually received an anime adaptation in 2006. Unfortunately, the manga has not finished nor has it published a chapter in recent years due to certain disputes over publishing rights. However, while the anime is not complete, it does offer an open-ended conclusion. But what is D.Gray-Man? Interestingly, D.Gray-Man has often been compared to Fullmetal Alchemist, especially with the first anime adaptation from 2003. During his youth, Alan Walker made a deal with a devil-like character named the Millennium Earl. He asked the Earl to resurrect his deceased father figure Mana. Upon doing so, Alan has been cursed with an eye to see demons known as Akuma. Serving the Millennium Earl, Akuma are essentially weapons of destruction that constantly evolve into more gruesome and powerful beings. The Millennium Earl's purpose is humanity's genocide through the usage of his Akuma. With death being a natural occurrence, many people can't bear to live without their loved one, so they turn to the Earl for solace. In this case, the Millennium Earl constantly deceives people, but also has gained an unlimited supply of Akuma for his army. Opposing the Earl is the Black Order, consisting of exorcists who each bear innocence, a weapon used to exorcise Akuma. Alan Walker joins the Order as he wishes to slay the Millennium Earl and free the Akuma. However, aiding the Earl is the Noah family, who are basically the classiest anime villains you'll ever see. With a revolving cast of main characters, D.Gray-Man centers on a tragic and dark story where humanity does its best to execute this devilish man, the Millennium Earl. As good as the story sounds, D.Gray-Man does have a little bit of problems. My nitpick is oddly enough the main characters, as they don't really play too big a role in the story, or at least not until the final arc. For example, the rival character Kanda doesn't work too well in his role since he's constantly absent from the story. Crowry doesn't add anything to the group until his fight with Jazz Devi, and the same can be said with Lavi as his inner conflict wasn't revealed to his fight with Royal Camelot. Lena Lee and Alan are the only true main focus of the story and are presented incredibly well throughout the entire series. They also mark one of the few times to feature a 2 vs 1 battle where the characters are opposite genders. While the series does have plenty of action, the style of fighting is rarely hand-to-hand and mostly consists of throwing projectiles, such as seen in Saint Seiya. Because of this, most of the battles can feel a bit repetitive or drag, but thankfully the final battles more than make up for this weakness. Personally to me, the strongest part of D.Gray-Man are its dark tone, as several characters actually die in the series. To me, this is a rare circumstance, as lately most shonen series don't even attempt to kill off characters, but this is what lifts the show's quality of storytelling even in filler episodes. The beginning of D.Gray-Man does have a couple of singular filler episodes, but help to flesh out certain characters in solo missions or give insight to the dark world that is D.Gray-Man. The Millennium Earl is such a monstrous villain fit to be called the devil, even with his constant biblical references the series is known for. Likewise, the family of Noah are all intimidating villains, with Rogue Camelot and Tiggy Mix serving as the more popular characters due to their constant clashes with Alan Walker. Alan as a hero is one of the darkest characters to come out of Shonen Jump in recent years. While we still have tragic characters such as Gintoki Sakata from Gintama, Alan Walker definitely has a tough journey where the fate of humankind is placed upon his shoulders. With the series' recurring theme of death, Alan Walker has a sense of destiny that could result in turning himself into what he most despises. I felt the series dragged in some areas, but Alan's life story to be constantly surrounded by death is what intrigued me the most. In a world where people give in to the devil's temptations, there is a need for a messiah-like hero, and Alan Walker is that prophesized hero. Some may disagree with me, but I don't think it's necessary for the manga to continue. Sure, there's a lot of revelations about Alan and Kanda's origins, but if Bleach and Naruto has taught me something, is that stories centered on the characters being related to a bad guy or to have some mixed blood where a villain has foreseen everything usually doesn't work. The current storyline in D.Gray-Man is going the same route, but I just don't see the point of it. Sure, the anime doesn't conclude either, but it does hint that the battle with the Earl is never ending, simply because humanity hasn't accepted death. The Millennium Earl can only be vanquished until mankind can cope with the passing of those they cherish. This theme does create a real-life lesson as it demonstrates that mankind's greatest enemy is not the Earl, but ourselves. D.Gray-Man has a limited release in the United States, with Funimation only licensing and dubbing 51 episodes out of 103. Many people have complained that the dub was bad, but I failed to see what's wrong with it. Aside from the mispronunciation of Akuma to Akuma, that's the only real complaint I have. However, an honest flaw of the series are a few filler episodes, specifically episodes 40 to 50, as they can really vary in quality. The manga for D.Gray-Man has also been licensed with 24 volumes, but it's also being re-released in omnibus format. Also, D.Gray-Man's latest appearance is Alan Walker being a support character in the recent J-Stars Victory vs. game for PS3 and PS4. D.Gray-Man had great potential and should have ended with a final battle with the Earl instead of this Akuma, thus the story wouldn't be in its current mess of being unpublished. With the series' military viewpoint, its ongoing battles against constantly evolving demonic opponents, plus its tragic elements could have made D.Gray-Man on par with Fullmetal Alchemist. Similar recommendations to D.Gray-Man are the CGI-heavy Blast Rider and the first Fullmetal Alchemist anime. Blast Rider is a very religious-heavy series dealing with, well, robot zombies, but also bears a very mature tone where many characters go through very depressing, life-changing events. I recommend the first Fullmetal Alchemist over Brotherhood simply because of the homunculi in the first series have more in common with the Akuma and D.Gray-Man. I'm the Anime Hero and I review anime so you can enjoy it.